Bryce, you there, bud?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Good, man. I talked to Dom earlier. Dom was like, "How did you guys pick Bryce?" And I was like, "I don't know." Jamie and I were talking. I said, Bryce is one of those people that every time I talk to him, he's positive, always has just great things to say. I've never heard him complain about anything. Met you on the cruise face to face, and I was like, he's just someone who does 30 grand a month and trains other agents and always is willing to help out other people. So I love what you do. I know that you train everyone in that dial room every day. So we'd love for you to be able to, come on and kind of talk to what you're doing with new agents and how you're helping people get started, how you keep it so simple for the new agents that are coming into the group.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys having me. It's funny, like, Dom and I were talking on our new agent training today, and we were like, there's so much good training out there. Like, there's so many videos, like the script is so thorough. There's so many ways that you can learn how to sell in this business. And it's like what we've realized, like the thing that I think we can help you out with the most is perspective, right? Right. Like when you've been doing this business for a little bit, something that you can give somebody coming on board is perspective and helping them have the right mindset. So, we definitely do some very specific training and on the script and everything, but we try to talk a lot about perspective. And what I'd say, I think for me, when it comes to perspective, one of the biggest things that you talk about, just like having a good attitude, it's like, well, the reason I started this business and came to this in the first place, because I came from door-to-door sales. I was doing that for like 5 years. And I literally was just grateful to not have to go through like 3 pairs of shoes a month just to like feed my family. You know what I mean? So like the fact that I can just sit in an office and get my face kicked in all day, as opposed to like getting my teeth kicked in from actually going out and seeing people all day, is like, I don't know what else you can ask for. So, yeah, man, that's what brought me to this business was just the fact that there's leads. And so I just try, and sometimes you can forget it, like you have a rough day, rough week or something, and you're like, man, dude, this is tough. I'm going through it right now. But the thing I always tell myself is like, when I get on the phones tomorrow, like, we used to, when we were running in the field, we had like the Monday, Thursday dial schedule, right? Dial Monday, run Tuesday, Wednesday, dial Thursday, run Friday, Saturday. And sometimes, you'd end the week on Wednesday. And if you had a rough week, like what I would always tell myself Wednesday night is like, when I get on the phones tomorrow on Thursday morning, I got a fat stack of leads that I get to call. And, when you've been doing this, you're like, yeah, duh, of course. But like when you come from something that, I literally, my other job, I did not know where my next sale was coming from. Basically didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. I had to go out there every day and create it myself and go find it. Right. And like we used to joke around in our office. And this is the like what hit me, which made this business make so much sense for me, is because at my last job, we were partnered with UPS. So I basically would go around to businesses that ship their packages out with FedEx and try to get them switched over to UPS, right? And we used to joke around. We'd be like, I would be willing to pay for a list of companies that were just like moderately interested in hearing somebody out potentially about switching their shipping services from FedEx to UPS. Like we would pay for that. And this was W-2, like salary plus commission. There was no, write-offs or anything like that. We're like, if we could find a way to pay for that service, we will pay for it. And then when I found that you get to pay, you have the opportunity to pay for leads, to find your clients, to make selling way easier, I was like, oh, dude, this is a dream. So that's the perspective that I try to help people with when it comes to rejection, calling and working leads, everything like that. Is like, there's so many other sales jobs where it's so much harder. You know what I mean? It could be so much more worse. And you don't, like, even worse than it being hard or easy is like, you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. And yeah, this is commission only, but like leads should give you such a peace of mind that if you just have the right attitude and put in enough activity, you can make it happen, So yeah, I mean, when it comes to like, in terms of our script, we use the for starting new agents off, we use the script on the national hub, the telesale handbook. So that's a script we use. That thing is so solid, so thorough. It's more than just a script. It's literally the playbook from taking somebody from point A to Z. So we train everybody. We use that. And for anybody that's like really new, like haven't started yet or brand new getting on here, it's like the biggest thing that we talk about when you're first getting started is like the most important. There's so many lead types. There's so many different ways you can take this business. I think it's super important when you're first getting started to just have some good direction on like what is actually important. What's the most important thing for me when I first get started, right? And really, when it comes to telesales, it's like, can I get and keep a client on the phone for the first 30 seconds? Like our clients, you got to understand, they're filling out so many different forms. They're getting calls for so many different things, Medicare, free cruises, all kinds of different stuff, right? So like, how do we set ourselves apart from all those other people that are calling them? And it's really the posture and the tone and even what you say when you first get a client on the phone. So much of it, like we have kind of a new class of agents coming through and we're training on the script. We haven't even gotten past like the structure piece, and not to overcomplicate it, but it's just because like that first part of the script is so important. And so for anybody that's brand new on here, just have a crazy focus on like, am I getting and keeping clients on the phone? And the beautiful thing about live dials is like, if you can get somebody on the phone, if you can get them to write down your name and state license number, you have them there, right? So we can help you out. If you're on live Zoom dials and you unmute or you say, hey, I'm about to bring in my manager, he's going to help me with this. Like we can help you move along, and you hear Dom or myself or Jacob or somebody like progress through the appointment, you're there with them. You get a really good feel for how it goes. But I think, myself included, when I first started, everybody, when they first start, the thing that people struggle with the most is just getting enough presentations. And get it, like even giving yourself enough shots. And so that's what, aside from the activity that it takes, the volume of leads, all that, like the thing that, we train on a lot on that call, and what I think is super important to focus on is just like, do I sound good enough to at least keep this person on the phone? Right? Is that first intro part of the call, do I have that down? And there's tone, there's posture, there's stuff that comes with it. But yeah, from there, I don't know if there's anything more that specific you want me to get into, but we're big on that, on that training call, is keeping it simple and having that first part of the call down, because once you get that, the rest of the appointment kind of flows.
That's awesome. I think a lot of times when people come in here, they overcomplicate everything. I had new agents, they call and they ask for everything else other than, getting on the phone and making phone calls. And I think they do it because they're afraid to get on the phone. When agents are first starting and they're asking all those questions, what do you guys do? Do you just direct them, hey, here's some leads, get on live dials and let's start dialing? Or how do you guys handle it right when they come in?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we don't even really give them a chance to ask those kind of questions, because what I just told you is like the first thing that you hear when you start working with us. Like, hey, I know you have a ton of questions. I had a ton of, I still have on my notebooks. I have like a list of all these questions as I was watching the boot camp, because California, it takes like 5 weeks to get your license, right? I passed my test and it was taking forever my license to come back. So all I could do was watch all these trainings, right? So I'm watching all these trainings. I have like this crazy list of all these questions. And I get on the phone with Dom and I'm like, yeah, I got a list of questions. He's like, cool, but like start here. You know what I mean? And so that, like, I get it. Of course you got a ton. I did too. Like, trust me, I understand that. But you just gotta like have a little bit of blind faith and faith and trust us enough that like our job is to help you get paid. Right. And so if you focus on this, we can help you get paid. But if you start asking us like, all these different product questions and everything, it's like, if you can't keep this client on the phone for this first 30 seconds, I promise none of that matters. So if you can get crazy good at this, all that other stuff, like those questions will come about, I promise. And then we can handle them there. But I think, if you don't have a focus on, your presentation count and like just getting enough presentations, giving yourself enough at bats, even getting to that point. Because such a huge reason why I emphasize that is because that was my problem when I first started doing telesales. Is I just took like the same in-home approach as I did, to the same other approach on the phone as I did in home, and it wasn't working out. I was getting hung up on quick and everything, and so I had to like have a focus on like getting and keeping them on the phone, getting them to trust me, and then progressing through the rest of it. And we can help you, right? If you can get and keep a client on the phone, but if you don't give yourself a chance, it's tough.
Dean, Bryce, I know you have a small order of IULs.
Yeah.
You're like 20, but you're doing a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, IULs, I love ethos leads, Facebook final expense. Yeah. Mortgage protection.
Hey, Mike, you mind if I
Jump
say
in, man.
something about his lead flow?
Yeah.
All right. So his lead flow, he's like the Swiss Army knife, okay?
Kind of like you.
Of insurance. Like my man doesn't do more one of anything. Okay. I remember, was it last year? Last year, while everybody was going, nah, final expense, blah, 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 my man still had mailers rolling. Like he was still doing final expense mailers. He goes, I was like, bro, you don't see everybody talking about that? He goes, yeah, dude, but like I added those, but I'm not going to stop these.
Love it.
And I really want him to talk about that piece. Like he does not ditch what's working before something else is working. Can you talk about that, Bryce? Because you've never had a lull of production due to your decisions you've made with what's going to be best.
Yeah. Well,
how do you keep that? How do you not get so excited about IULs and say screw FX? How do you do that? How do you stay in the game?
Well, I mean, I think to keep it simple, like with that, I've always looked at like final expenses like what funds my business, and everything else is just whatever I want to do from there, or extra income. Because final expense, it's predictable, it's simple, you can get a high volume of leads, and there's not going to sit in underwriting for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So you're going to get paid fast. So to me, it's just always like it's the base of what we do is final expense, and it's just a simple way to keep it. And also, I don't know, like I like doing what the new folks that we have coming on are doing. Like if I'm going to be training on how to sell internet with beneficiary leads, like I want to be running beneficiary leads, right? If I'm going to be training on Facebook leads, I want to be running Facebook final expense leads. I just never want to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, 6 years ago I used to run final expense and this is how it worked, and maybe you should try that. Like I want to be doing it live. You can hear me do it live. But yeah, I don't know. It's just final expenses. I mean, I know Jacob talked about it the other day. Like it's simple. It's the base of what we do. And from like a cash flow standpoint, I look at it as like, that's what funds the ability for me to run like maybe have 3 weeks of orders of IUL leads come in and not get paid on any of them yet. You know what I mean? And so if I have final expense coming in the meantime, it gives me the freedom to be able to do stuff like that.
Dude, this is so big, okay? Because we get excited about one thing. Now, how about this? Let's get to the clientele, because there's a piece of this that, we feel like, oh, we're running this in order to get to this, right? Like I'm running this, like I'm the, I do social work in Compton, but eventually I'll be in Beverly Hills. Does that make sense? Like that's people's thought process as it pertains to our leads. You've never thought that way. Let's get to the people. Let's forget about the sales process and things. What about our clients? Because when I hear people say stuff like that, it almost I'm like, ugh, like shit, like they're human beings and they need insurance. Why are we going like, I don't want that clientele no more? So how do you how's your heart connected to each clientele when one average client may be $34 a month, and then you write one right after that for $5,000 or for $500 a month? Like, how are you show up as the same person giving a damn about everybody equally? How do you do that? And train us on how to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely need it the most. Like, if for again, mortgage protection, yeah, of course, like, but if you can afford a mortgage, you probably have a little bit of cash somewhere, you probably got some steady income. Most likely somebody in your family does. Like IUL, like, of course everybody needs it, but final expense, they need it the most. And that's all, like, you can look at that. If you're a selfish person, then you can look at that like, oh, if they need it the most, there's the highest demand. Like, I should be able to make the most sales from that, like have the highest, close rate of that. But honestly, like at this point, I think I'm at just about 30 death claims in 3.5 years. And that's because the majority of my business is final expense. And so when you have your first death claim and then they start to rack up, it's like, how could I just leave that? You know what I mean? Like that, those are the people that I'm certain, most of them are in my area because I started out in the field for about 2.5 years.
Dude, did y'all hear that? Did y'all feel that when he said that? Like, did you feel that in your heart of how could I leave that? See, one thing that I was never confused about, and Sean, and this is why Sean's organizations always took off, because, dude, we always sold what the majority of people didn't want to sell. We were at the other place, everybody was looking for mortgage leads. We're over there selling Social Security, $255 a month. But we're selling $30,000, $40,000 a month on leads that say free on them. And everybody's like, how do you guys do it? Dude, it's the belief level. Like Bryce said, when you got 30, imagine selling mortgage and stuff. Like the person who's doing mortgage 2-3 years in a row, they ain't got 30 death claims. Like, how does it ever become real? It became real when people started to die. And you're an IUL business, right? I don't know how. I never seen an IUL person die yet. I'm saying we write a lot of it. Be clear. It's going to start to happen. But the reality is, dude, you want the quickest return on like the full circle of this business so you can like really see where you fit in. Dude, final expense is where you fit in. Final expense is where you see the full cycle of this business. And when you see the full cycle of this business within your first year of being with us, it's hard to leave. It's hard to leave when you had to when you delivered a damn death claim. It's hard because you go, damn, if it wasn't for me, who was going to help her? Anybody on here go through a death claim and you think that if it wasn't for me, who in the hell was going to do that? You know, and that's huge stuff, man. So 30 plus death claims. How's that feel when you get a death claim? Who on here has not had a death claim yet? Put in the chat. You've been here over a year without a death claim. Over a year, I have not had a death claim. Okay? We should be running towards those things. Embrace them. It's a double-edged sword. You don't want it. But, bro, it's the best. Jesse, your belief level is going to go through the roof. You think you're good now. Now, think about Jesse. He don't even think he's good now. That's the thing about it. He don't even think he's good. But bro, when that death claim hits and you see the full circle, you're going to go, what? All right, now I see what happens. And now with IULs, now you're going to see living benefits too. You'll probably see a lot more living benefits, Jesse, before you see death. And when you start seeing these living benefits go into force, it's going to ring bells for you as well. And that's one thing I haven't had yet either. So now we're selling more IULs. Now these living benefits are going to start to hit us. And that's going to help you sell more. So, Bryce, one thing I'll say in this, dude, if you can talk, we're all here, dude. Everybody's not hired by somebody who they're like crazy cool with, right? Or maybe there's age discrepancies, or maybe there's just, hey, but one thing I know about you, dude, and I like you, right? We're cool, like, you know what I mean? But, dude, you were going to figure this thing out with or without me. And I'm just going to keep it real. Like, you guys, like, if you guys looking for credit from your downline, like, he was going to win. I got lucky enough that he responded to my Indeed ad. Sometimes you get lucky. Okay. How are you so independent within FFL? Why is FFL such a good place for an independent contractor?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, from what I was doing before, like there's no confusion that you were going to get smoked in sales without a ton of training, preparation, everything like that, right? And it's like if I was going to go out and try to sell a CEO on his $20,000 line item that he could not give two craps about. Like, I might as well have been going in there asking him to switch from like Folgers to Starbucks in terms of his like what was in his snack room. And that's the way he looked at what I was selling him. So I had to be trained in order to sell that, right? And I did that for 5 years. We did a daily training. Every day we came in the office, we did an hour of role plays before we went out and start banging on doors all day. So like it was just ingrained in me right away. Like if you're going to be in sales, training is everything. It's massive. You're going to get smoked without it. So I wasn't confused when we came to this, like, cool, this is just a different vehicle, but because I had the confidence that because there's leads and because these other people are doing it, I can do it too. So that was like my baseline level of belief. But I also knew that like, if I can't communicate effectively with clients, I'm going to get smoked too. And now there's no base salary. It's completely on me. So I was scared enough that I went OD on YouTube to figure out how to get somebody from point A to Z when I get in front of them. And so that's what I love about FFL, man. I truly believe that every single person can write 20,000 a month just from the boot camp and YouTube, and you should utilize the people that are around you to like scale it from there. Like if you literally just watch that boot camp that's on the national hub and the thing about watching trainings is like, there's a difference between watching a training to check a box and then like watching a training, like I'm about to get in front of somebody and have to, reiterate this and say this in front of them and make it make sense. You know what I mean? And so like what I wrote down everything that I was going to say when I got in front of somebody. I recorded myself on my way to my appointments. I listened to my recordings in the car. So I was so nervous about getting smoked that I just like went crazy on train. Like I drove my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, nuts because we used to watch like movies, sports, everything. Everything was FFL YouTube for like 3 weeks. And then, you kind of start to become a normal person from there. But yeah, I think that getting started, like there's so much stuff out there. There's so many trainings that if you just go nuts on them, and then again, not just watch it, but like watch it as if your life depends on it, because it kind of does. Just help use the people around you to kind of scale it from there.
Dude, and that's we have great mentors. You have great people who brought you into this business, and everybody on here, whoever brought you into this business, definitely qualified. All right, to teach you how to do this business. But the beautiful thing is that they're not your only option. And if you can, it's not like Sean said this morning, instead of going, well, they didn't do this for me, they didn't do that, they didn't have this, go, dude, there's a TNL on Friday. There's YouTube. I can do this. Like, if I wanted to learn how to copyright, I wouldn't have to call anybody. I could just go on YouTube and put, how do I learn how to copyright? And then I find people who are doing it. And then I just watch those videos over and over and over. And then I build a relationship with somebody, because now I'm like, oh, I've been following them for about a month or so. And then now like, oh, okay, now I pay for one of their courses. You know what I mean? Like if you want to know something, 2024 is not the time to say that it's somebody else's fault. I'm just going to be real with you. You can't. Now, Frank, 2010, 11, bro, it probably was my fault. All right? Fuck it. It probably, you know what I mean? Yep, it was my fault. But today, come on. If you're going, my upline is the start of why you ain't winning, please, please, please remember there's the internet. Is this like, and sometimes we say some obvious stuff, but sometimes you're so stuck in the forest, you can't see the obvious.
Right.
You're so stuck in realizing like, Jesse should be doing this for me, that no, he shouldn't. Why don't you just hop on this damn training and do it yourself? Oh, I'm independent. Damn, I forgot. See, Bryce has never forgotten that he's independent. But he also never forgets that, dude, these folks make money when I sell insurance, and I'm going to lean on them when I need them. Make sense? Always have that clarity. And I believe you guys, when this business becomes just you know that you're the problem and you're the solution, it's lights out. It's lights out. But there's too many people when they're winning, they're the reason why, and when they're losing, it's her fault or his fault or the lead's fault. I saw somebody in the chat today on when Sean was talking saying that they were upset out of Maricopa for rescinding the policy. I said, holy smokes. My man couldn't keep negativity out. Like, he just had to put it out there. I was like, holy. But you know what, you guys? When we know that, hey man, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. I was at a skate park yesterday. Also, I met this kid called, his name is Cordano something. You'll hear about him. He's like the Michael Jordan of skateboarding right now. He's freaking insane. He's like 18 years old, 6'3", 230 pounds. Okay. He got recruited to go to USC to play football. He said, nah, I'm gonna go skateboard. Okay. And the reason I'm telling you guys this story is, bro, when you know you're supposed to be doing something, you do it. You do it. So my question to you guys is this what you know you're supposed to be doing? I know you're 6'3" and 230. You could be playing football. I get all that. I know what your skills say that you are, but where's your passion at? And is it here? Make sense? So, dude, I was amazed by seeing this guy. He was like, and he said this to me. He said, dude, I'm meant to do this. He goes, I'm meant to do this. He goes, I know I can go play football. But I'm meant to skateboard. And I know I'm 6'3", 230. I know that. And I know I look like, Magic Johnson's son. I know that. But that's my dad. He ain't never played a sport in his life. And boom, boom. Like, and he's at the skate park with his dad. And I'm like, dude, this is so cool. And his dad is encouraging him, do what you love. Versus, I got a meal ticket with my son right now. I want to go play some football. Makes sense? You get hurt doing that skateboard and stuff. And yeah, so I can get hurt playing football too. But know that you're supposed to be doing this. And Bryce, what does that mean to you? I'll tell you that story. What does insurance mean to you? And what can you say about that? And does the shoe fit for you when you say, hey, this is what I do and this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah, man, it's funny you say that because, yeah, I mean, my dad passed I think just about a year before I started this, and he did not have any life insurance. And it's funny because he used to talk to me about when I was graduating college looking for a job. He's like, oh, he was always used to send me these ads from State Farm and Farmers and stuff, like the local one in the town I grew up in. It's like, I heard, I'm sure insurance, stable, industry, blah, blah, send me all the stuff. And then when it came to be, I was like, oh man, so when I was in front of clients, I have a real story of what it looks like when you don't have this, you know what I mean? And the fact that it's just funny how the world works. He sent me that as hey, this is something you should do. So it all just kind of worked out. And of course just like everybody else, it's not like was ever dreamt of selling life insurance or thought this was something I wanted to be doing. But when you get into it, you fall in love with it. You fall in love with the people around you and everything. You realize that it is what you're meant to do. But I think for most people, you just got to give yourself a chance to even find that. You know what I mean? I didn't have a plan B, quit a job a couple weeks before I got my license. I just went so all in on it that when you just don't give yourself a choice sometimes, you realize what it's meant to do. And of course it sucked. It was hard in the beginning, all that stuff. But when you put enough into something, it's going to have a return. And it's cool to find what you're meant to be doing.
Hey, B, that plan B, I remember when I remember I asked you, you said I quit. Do you remember that conversation?
Well, yeah, when you hired me, I had a job, and then my first day on the phones, you're like, what's your schedule? And I was like, this.
Dude, I was like, no, because he had a job that he was making 6 figures. You know what I mean? He wasn't working at Dunkin'. Makes sense? My man, well, he had a real job. And he goes, dude, I quit. I go, damn. He goes, bro, that's the only way I could freaking do this thing. He goes, there's no way I could imagine doing this thinking about something else. He goes, so I just had to cut all my bridges and just go all in. So don't hear that, you guys, as Dom or Bryce said for me to quit my job, okay? But if you heard that, and somebody else spoke to you, well, listen to them, okay? Because you got to make that decision. Nobody else. I didn't tell Bryce to quit his job, okay? But if you think that, hey, man, this may be a little too much for me to manage, well, then that's where you got to say, you know what? I believe in myself. I believe in myself. And that's what Bryce said. He knew nothing that was on the other side of the door other than, well, sure, they got leads. But only way I can see what's on the other side of the door is if I go all in. And be clear, you guys got a group of men and women who love to help people. I promise you. So this isn't one to where if you go all in and you fail, bro, we got life rafts for days. Okay. But the problem is, Frank, we never really have to use them too much. Like, I want to use those. I want somebody to go, yo, man, I just went all in and this happened, bro. But like, dude, hell yeah, I got you with some leads. Let's go. Let's go. Keep going. Keep going. Because, dude, when you put the fire behind it, the gasoline is easy to turn on. And we got gas, but y'all got the fire. We got the fire. The fire is us. And Bryce, you came in lit, so it was easy to throw gas on it, bro. It was easy. So thanks a lot, dude, for what you're sharing. Mike, I'll turn it back over to you, dude. But Bryce, great job today, brother.
Appreciate you.
Great info. Frank, you got anything left for Bryce?
No, I think it's to me, it's kind of what we've said for the last 14 years. You really can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Yep.
And you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You're either going to do this or not. And there's nobody that's going to help you get there or not help you get there, if that makes sense. Like Dom's talking about, when you get to a point to where you're building a business, that's where true mentorship comes in. Like, Sean didn't really have to hold our hands making sales. Like, he held us accountable. But when we got into building a real business and dealing with problems and issues, that's where mentorship comes in. So it's like, anybody on this call that wants to be at the top, like, that's on you. It's not on us. We have all the tools. Like, I saw somebody asking, where is the training? Go to YouTube, type in training, FFL. There's gazillion videos. Find the person that you like the best, guy, girl, whatever it is, who acts like you, who talks like you, the closest thing you can find to you, and mimic that person. When you do that, it makes it easier. Like, it's really hard for somebody like Zach, the new guy in our office, Zach Novak. Dude, I don't know if I could piss him off. Like, he's just so here all the time. And you step on my shoe, I want to snap. So, like, it's hard for him to relate to my personality. So I go, who do I think he's most relatable to in the company? I go, Andrew Taylor, who's just right here all the time, right? So, but I don't know who that is for you. Find that person, because there's enough training videos out there that you can find somebody that's really good producer, top level producer here, and you can listen to everything they've ever done. And it makes it easier for you to go through the phone script when you're not saying things that are uncomfortable to the point of they just don't come out of your mouth, right? So I think, Bryce, what you're saying makes a ton of sense. Burn the boat, burn the bridges. Like, I'm big on that. Like, burn that bitch down. There's no way I can go back. Burn them all and go full-fledged if you believe in yourself enough. But I think a lot of people are burning those bridges. They're still not sure. And that's a bad program unless you're a fighter. Like, fight, flight, or freeze. A lot of people just freeze or they flight, right? They're out. If you're a true fighter, burn that bridge. You'll make it. If you're not, then I don't know how to help you, but there's somebody here in this company that is that way that can help you, if that makes sense. You just got to seek them out, find them, and learn everything that they know just by listening. And they're not going to sit there on the phone with you for hours. They're not going to hold your hand. That's not what this business is about. We're independent agents. This is your business. Your responsibility to find out as much as you can in the shortest period of time that you can. Because when you figure it out, it's so simple, but figuring it out can suck for days, for weeks, for months, depending on how fast you move. So, Mike, that's all I got to add.
I think the biggest thing that I see missing that I haven't seen in a while was that weekend, the Saturdays and Sundays. I know, Frank,
Facts.
how long, dude, we were running. I saw someone also ask about dialing on a Sunday and getting yelled at. I specifically remember in 2020, I needed the money so bad. We were in the office at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, dialing 7 a.m. making phone calls on a Sunday to book up on Monday to go in the field. I mean, I did whatever I had to do, and I don't see enough of that going on. But
No.
it's those types of things, working Saturday, working Sunday. And when people are doing that, that's like what changes everything. Dom
Yeah.
was there. Dom, who was the person? Was he in your group that made a comment in Discord, said, "Hey, I'm in the dial room, no one's in here,"
Yeah.
and then it filled up. I mean, you got and you killed it on Sunday too. You know, people ask, "Where's Dom's training?" I'm like, he did it live.
Live, yeah.
Dude, well, I like what Heather just said. Heather said you can take Sundays off when you're financially comfortable.
So
Facts.
See, I was never confused. There was never been a time I took a day off and I owed a carrier money. There was never a day I took a day off and I didn't have the money that does it make sense? Like honestly, like Sean put a healthy fear in me to never, ever, ever be chilling and owe people money. Ever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Ever. It's to the point to where I'm 37 and I just don't. People are like, you could do that. I'm like, I know, but I don't, because what if it may look like that to somebody else? Does that make sense? Because but that's so big, dude. But Saturdays and Sundays, that's how you get ahead.
Dude, we got to get back to the
I just
weekend
qualified for the
warriors.
cruise. I just qualified for the cruise because I worked both days.
Dom, weekend warriors, remember that? We need to bring the weekend warriors back.
Dude, there's no more weekend warriors, bro. Like they stopped.
No,
I'm a weekday. I don't know what
it's like people have 9 to 5 jobs working for FFL, and that's such, pardon my French, that's bullshit. We worked 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week. And I think too, a lot of times you guys see, you know, like Mike on his computer. Mike's on his computer till 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I know this because he'll send us text messages at like 1 a.m. going, dude, I just figured this out. I'm going like, dude, does he ever sleep? But I think a lot of agents that are starting look at folks like, and Dom's doing it, but with all due respect, Dom shouldn't have to. Like Dom's paid his dues to take off Saturdays and Sundays. Now he's doing it because he cares about y'all and he doesn't want to let you down, but it's bullshit. There's enough people on this call that aren't financially in the place they should be or want to be. And y'all should be working 7 days a week. And it's not a permanent thing. And by the way, just because you don't see Dom on a Zoom doesn't mean Dom's not working. Just because you don't see Mike on live dials doesn't mean Mike's not working. Mike's on his phone 24/7. Dom's on his phone 24/7. Our phones ring 24/7. Doesn't stop ringing on Sundays. Doesn't stop ringing on Friday nights. Doesn't stop ringing on Saturdays. But y'all have to get to that point where you can do it from whatever. But in the beginning, it's a hustle, it's a grind, nonstop, 7 days a week until you get to where you need to get to. And then it slowly starts to change. But you don't come in and then 2 days later, oh, I work 5 days a week, 6 hours, 8 hours a day, and I'm good. That's not this business. And if it is what you're looking for, it's fine. Y'all do whatever you want, but you're going to just cap your success. And I don't think that's what most of you get into this business for, is to have a cap success. You're trying to get to the 1-2% of the people in the country that have millions in the bank, not hundreds of thousands, but millions. So I love that. We definitely need to get back to it. And I think it would change a lot of your situations if you just committed to making 1 or 2 sales on a Saturday and a Sunday until you guys had, I don't know, 200 grand in the bank. It wouldn't take that long.
I agree.
So,
well, I appreciate everyone jumping on. Bryce, thank you so much, man. It was very, very informative. We'll see everyone next Monday at 6 o'clock, and then Thursday, make sure you jump on the ladies' calls.
SRS call Thursday too at noon, Mike.
SRS call.
Annuity this week.
Got to be on that. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys next week, and take care. Thanks, Bryce.